You did it.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are on video 5 of the Let Them Theory, and today we're going to focus on chapter 10, which is when we have a challenge, how we can learn from it rather than to just be pissed off. Excuse my language. So we're going to get started, and then we're each going to have a story, and then we'll give some input um, and ask questions. So Cynthia has volunteered to go first today. Welcome, Cynthia,
I
and tell us what you got for us.
super love this chapter. I love the way Mel writes. I took a couple notes. Um, Flip comparison. I like that word, and I also liked um, the word formula. Use other people's success as a formula to follow, and I thought, oh, that's good. Um, let other people wake you up when you're feeling that unease, that jealousy, that comparison. Um, I don't know that I've done a lot of. Well, let me just say that when I do feel jealous, when I have in the past, I think I'm a past that hope. Um, I have used displacement. I can remember
Mm.
being angry at someone because they were successful and I thought they should contribute more to my life and make me successful. And so I remember feeling that displacement of, well, why aren't you just giving me more time? Because I mean, so it's those little things that happen in your head. Um, I got over that once I was able to identify, oh, Cynthia, you are displacing on her. She's successful because she is putting in the time and she is a person that I want to follow and her formula. I want to be like her. She's very, very compassionate and loving. Um, a story that I can relate to you just recently where I feel the frustration of others and I'm working hard to let them be who they are. I'm learning. Remember, we were talking about breathing a couple of times ago. What do you do? And you breathe. Well, sometimes the breath work doesn't come that fast. And a woman shared this with me, just rubbing your fingers together. And I could do it in my pockets. I could do it behind my back. But getting control of me and my mind and letting them be what I don't want to be. And then what happened in my book club is a good example. I don't know if I shared this one or not. The book club has been meeting now for 10 years, and it's women who know each other really well. And after we finished discussing the author and a great author report and a little bit on the book, then the book club kind of breaks into gossip. And they, how is so and so doing, and what's so and so doing, and there was some gossip that I thought was really unfair. And they talked about a woman that I know her story from my vantage point. They know the story from another, and I just asked them to not speak up. Well, what I'm able to do is to use that as an example to help me move on.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love this because I'm not feeling guilty anymore. I'm just feeling like, hey, it's time to move on. You've been there 10 years. You've done great things with this group. And now it's time to do something different. I think I maybe have shared this. I don't know. But
But
that
it's a great story.
it's for me, it's a growth. I don't need to blame. I don't need to displace. I don't need to compare. And I just love this whole flipping and learning and moving on and doing the best we can.
Yeah, yeah. I like, you said you like the word formula. And I think what you're doing, besides, recognizing that you're displacing, is that you're putting your mind into analysis. So you're analyzing it and you're putting it into compartments. And
Mhm.
then that helps you to put the data into the different compartments
Right.
and then decide what you want to do next. So it's great brain activity, and it's like if you have to breathe for a while to
Or just rub my
get
face.
yourself into the mode. I really like that, but it's true. It is a formula, but you need to get from emotions into the cognitive to analyze it and then decide what you're going to do about it. So then, yeah, I know she says later in this chapter, the point again is the let me.
Well,
Let me.
I feel like I don't have to sit around and bemoan things anymore. I don't have to. I loved it. She said, "Save yourself some time, free up some time of your life. You don't have to sit around and bemoan or be resentful or um, what a freedom."
Yeah,
waste of time.
Yeah, and if people are in that place in their life where they choose to gossip, they're not to the place where they're going to put it aside yet. And if you are, it's good to move on, not only for them, but for you. So,
Yes, it really is. It just feels so good to even look back and say, "Oh,
yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Good job. Okay. So, Sandy, Mishkat, who wants to go next?
I can go next. I'd like to build on what Cynthia has said. The matter of fact that there is some sort of comparison, or what Mills call it, the torture comparison. Basically, when you compare your skills and your expertise to others. And just like Cynthia did, I tried in my capacity as a student learning specialist, helping service members learn a second language. And oftentimes in these classrooms, you will have a very small classroom of 6 people. One of them or 2 of them will be the superstars. They can answer questions quickly, they will soak in the language like sponges. And you have people who would take time. They want to think, they want to analyze. Perhaps their learning style is more analytic or introvert. And they start comparing their performance to the superstars to conclude that this is not for them, and their grades will start deteriorating. And that's when I get involved. The process for me was to create this awareness that Cynthia talked about. So basically, I would walk them through the process that while they are comparing themselves to these superstars, they are wasting their time on others. So rather than, for example, developing learning points for yourself, you are choosing to kind of succumb to these emotions and continue looking at the superstar. And it's like a stage performance, and you are the viewer, you are the person who just attend there to cheer the superstar. But at the same time, you are not learning anything, you are not taking anything from the classroom, leaving it with no learning objective completed, with more, negative emotions.
Sure.
To be honest with you, some learners succeeded and they stopped the comparison. Together, we developed learning points to be achieved in each hour, not throughout the day, but in each hour. And then, we came up with a mantra to help them focus on themselves. So, for example, I get them to say, "My job is me. I am going to focus on me." And I told them, each time you, start this comparison, I want you to kind of step back and say, "Is there something in it for me?" So you went through this painful torture. Did you get something out of it, or no? If the answer is no, then shift gears immediately and start focusing on what you can learn, which lead us to Mel's second point in this chapter, the teaching comparison. So rather than torturing yourself throughout, "I'm not good enough, I'm not gonna measure to that outstanding performance," what can I learn from this performance? Can I maybe talk to this person and see if I can get something to help me out, a couple of tips? If not, What do I, learn from it? What
Mhm.
did they say that can help me? And from there, the person can move on. As I said, some achieved success, some did not.
Sure.
It's a vicious cycle, if I may say so. And the person feels, for a lack of a better term, haunted. And I have seen so many teaching team leaders would even switch seatings or move one of them to another class. Sometimes the cycle repeated itself, sometimes it stopped. But still, it's something, that every educator, every leader need to be aware of.
Well, it sounds like the process that once an hour to focus on something really, if possible, promotes their self-awareness and
Exactly.
about how they learn and how that's different. If I'm a internal processor and they're not, then that piece tells me, well, then I need to do this and this rather than to
Right.
try to just do this. No, that's very good. That's good. Yeah, thank you. Sandy, you got your story ready?
Well, I wanted I wanted to share a couple of quotes that meant something to me. Mel talks in this chapter about letting anger move you to motivate you. And I would not want to camp in anger, but if that's the thing that gets you jump started, uh, then move on through to the other side of that. So she says, whoever or whatever is making you jealous, good. Their success and their wins don't shrink your chances of creating what you want. They expand it. Let them lead the way. Flip your jealousy to inspiration. There was another quote that I liked is there's enough happiness, success, friendship, and money to go around for absolutely, including you. It is a limitless supply. I love that. So
Yeah.
we don't have to be stuck. If our frustration is the thing that gets us motivated to move forward, but don't stay there,
Hmm.
um, because it doesn't bring your best out to camp in that in the anger thing. But if you could turn it into inspiration, like what she talks about, take it from being angry that somebody else has this success to being able to make it into inspiration, then that's where the change comes, right?
I like it where she says, um, when you're mad or whatever, to turn it around and say thank you, which is
Right,
difficult. Which is
right.
difficult. Yeah, yeah. So
Right.
very.
Yeah, it's always a little bit dicey to be comparing yourself to other people, like we talked about last time. I want to be a better person today than I was yesterday. Um, but maybe the being able to else, I just don't want to be judgmental in that looking at other people's success stories. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I want to be able to have a heart that is generous and kind to them and being happy for them. But you may have to go through that process. And just like you were talking about, you have to talk your way. Cynthia, you're talking about talking your way through things, even a block at a time. And you mentioned looking at the full day. What are we going to get done in this next hour? And I think any learning goals oftentimes have to be broken into segments so that we don't feel overwhelmed by what we want to do or what we want to accomplish.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, my story is one where I was angry for years, and I don't think it was. I don't know if it, I guess in a broad sense, it was comparison. But I, years ago, when my teaching partner and I decided to part ways, it was an interesting thing because she set it up, and I don't know if she set it up, but it felt like she did. It was we were working with a school principal, and she wanted to work with one of us, not both of us. And so, they took some time, and the gal chose her, and wow, that was hard. I got really, really angry Took me a long time to forgive both of them. And I had to get to the point of thanking them. That wasn't my path. It wasn't supposed to be my path, but it was tough. You know, I felt, I don't know, disregarded. You know what I mean?
You feel reject.
Or
Well, you feel
excluded.
that's a rejection. It feels rejection.
rejection.
It feels like I wasn't good enough.
Yeah,
So yeah,
right.
it
And
hurts.
so it took a while just to kind of let go of it and then gradually forgive them. And, you know, I haven't connected with either one of them since. So I guess maybe I haven't totally forgiven them yet. But I mean, you know, it's been a process. I have acknowledged forgiveness. And when I look back, I'm happy that it happened because my path was different and it was supposed to be different. But it was tough. You know, I hate to admit that I'm human and that happens to me.
Thank you for sharing. You are. Thank you.
Yes.
That's a blessing to us.
That's
Thank
great.
you.
Yeah, it's just tough. And you know, I don't usually, Sandy, I don't usually get angry and get mad, but that, and I think I buried the anger for a while. You know what I mean? And then it finally started coming out, and you know, it was kind of a deep level of disrespect that I felt. You know, sort of like put all the learning and stuff kind of in a different place, but it was what it was. But what I love too about what Mel talks about is I love the fact she says, you know, the people who are succeeding in things that you want to succeed at, how am I not putting in the reps? You know what I mean? How am I not putting in the time? Or how am I focused on a goal that isn't really the goal that I want? You know, that, you know, so
Yes.
I really like that. And I like to use that in my practice. And there's an assignment I'm going to give you guys. I actually don't have the details for today, but it really kind of goes into this about who are you and what do you do? And if I'm going to put the reps in, I guess I'm going to learn about reps as I heal my knee. But I mean, if I'm going to put the reps in, I should darn well make sure that it's who I am and where I want to go. Otherwise,
And so I would say that anger is very much a human emotion, and I don't think you can bypass that. I think what you do is you walk through it and you get on the other side.
That's very wise.
I think that if you did, it's going to sneak around and get your direction, right? Another way.
Yeah.
So it's good to process it and say, yeah, I'm angry about this. Why am I angry about it? Just like, you know, Cynthia was saying, why was I feeling called to do something different and be self-aware?
And it takes me a while because I'm a stuffer. You know, I'm real good at stuffing stuff and, you know, gloss it over. And so I have to dig it back up later. And hopefully it's turned into a big pearl, but not always.
You know what I love, Sue, is that you were able to say it wasn't for me. It wasn't my best.
Right.
And she said, if you don't go through pain, if you don't, you won't really know the lesson that you're supposed to learn.
That's true.
You had to feel that rejection to even question what can I do to make myself more visible or more whatever you wanted, but get on my own path. Bless you for seeing it as the wake-up call you needed.
It took me a long time, but you know, when you do finally, you can focus on who you are and what you do and let your gut guide you on the path you're supposed to go on. You're going to be far more successful than if you're trying to go down someone else's path.
Absolutely.
You know?
I was just thinking about a story. So when you're telling me this, we had I was the director of a early childhood education place, and I had a mentor that was from a college, Chemeketa Community College, or not Chemeketa, Clover Park Technical College, and she kept really pushing me to get my bachelor's degree because I had my associate degree at the time. And she said, you know, and then you can be, you know, you can apply. They did is from the college, they would go all over the territory and have contracts with different centers child care centers and be there to help mentor them. And I went through all the process and got my degree. I even jumped. So we had gone on a trip and we were to celebrate my graduation. And I was actually down in Reno when I got a call to plane and got over there to Clover Park for the interview. And I didn't get the position. And kind of exactly what you're talking about, Sue, is, I've been working for years. I mean, I went back to college while I was working full time and still raising kids and really put myself out there. So I was doing the work, but it didn't happen the way I. However, later on, I ended up becoming the coordinator for the Franklin Pierce School District. And I think that exactly what you're saying, that was a better fit for me anyway. And I think God knew the direction. He helped me know where to go with that. But if I had not done the work, I wouldn't have been able to be ready, even though I didn't get the first option I was setting my goal for. So sometimes you have to switch in the middle of the stream and figure out something different and still see the value in it and understand it's still all good. It's just different.
Yeah.
And Sue, I think you should give yourself a lot of credit. I have seen people in your shoes who turned anger into revenge for any reason whatsoever. They felt that the person took something from them. In fact, they felt somebody took something unlawfully, so they were undeserving. And they spend their time and energy trying to get back at that person. And each time it fails, they became angrier and angrier. So I truly appreciate, how you taught yourself. So you walked through this path almost alone. You kind of brainstorm it with yourself, so to speak, to focus on what you really wanted. And again, I lost count of how many people kind of walked this path of revenge, and it didn't lead anywhere.
No.
They were lost in the cycle of trying to get back at that person. Right. They didn't invest in themselves, and then somehow either they stayed where they are, or ended up for a lack of a better term, seeing their house crumble, so to speak, on top of them.
Very toxic.
But exactly, negative feelings are easy to succumb to because they are strong. They rile you up, and you feel like the only way to quiet them is to get some sort of justice for yourself.
Sure.
In reality, what the person is seeking is revenge, and this is totally something different. There is holding someone accountable. So if someone did something wrong, you can definitely hold them to account. But to go after them and like you want to put them down so as you can rise up, that's really when it gets dicey.
Right. It ends up to be that other kind of comparison, not the comparison, but the
torture. You succumb to the torture. In fact, it feels like you want more of it to yourself. So again, those students that I mentioned, so many of them would come back and tell me, I tried it, but it failed. I couldn't do anything. I won't be like them. And each time I try to tell them, your job is you, not to be like them, I felt it was not resonating with them. So oftentimes, you have to do the hard work for yourself.
Yes.
And focus on yourself and what you can do for yourself. Right. And on this note, honestly, I have to say it takes time. So you rightfully said, it took you time. So to shift gear and invest in yourself, it doesn't mean that, the plant will bloom next day. It will take time. It will take several tries. And I know it's easier said than done.
Sure.
But, keep moving forward versus focusing on others, and that will lead you to the results you want to achieve. But the
Right.
more you lose focus on yourself and your goals to give more energy to others, that's when the
Right.
route became longer and longer.
Right. And it's never a waste of time to pay attention to how you learn as an individual.
Exactly.
It does take time, and if you don't have people around you that learn like you, you have to just figure it out. But it's worth every second to do that. Yeah, yeah. So, anybody else have any feedback or something else you want to bring up right now about this lovely chapter 10?
Except that I enjoyed it tremendously. Honestly, I even pulled up some old notes about how my students reacted, how they learned, and I start making the comparison between what Mel is saying and what they did.
Oh,
It
wonderful.
was really very enjoyable to go through that chapter.
That's good. That's a great chapter. And the original plan was to do chapter 11 too, but chapter 11 moves into a whole different realm of relationships. And this is one of my favorite parts of the book because I think, as a senior myself, it really gives you a good perspective about relationships and moving from different types of friendships and then being a seeker of connecting with other people, which is really the key, and so I'm really enjoying getting into that, and I think we'll find it very rich for our discussions. And so we'll probably, I don't think I'm having, you guys know that I'm having knee replacement surgery this week, and so I'm thinking next week we probably won't have a podcast to let them podcast, but I'm thinking probably the week after, hopefully, we'll be able to move ahead and we'll just start with chapter 10 and go from there. So that's what.
Start with 11.
Oh,
11.
Yeah,
10. Thank you. 11.
I had a fun surprise. My daughter, her mother-in-law just passed away this morning, and she was up here supportive and that kind of thing. And I have seen a difference in Angie's connection with people as far as being able to let go of some things that was difficult for her to let go of. And I was talking about the fact that we are doing this podcast, Let Them. And she, come to find out, she's been listening actually to Robbins. And she knew about the Let Them theory. And I thought, well, that kind of explains some of the things that I am seeing in her life and how that's working out for her. And Cynthia, I know you were talking about getting something going in your church in regard to this book. And I am excited to hear your story about what you see happening as people are able to grasp on theory and the changing of people's thought process. It's pretty exciting. It's exciting to see people be able to grow from things that are available out there in our community. And it was fun. It was fun for me to be able to say, oh, so you have been listening and kind of conjugating and figuring out.
Yeah.
Sandy, that is so beautiful that without her even saying, hey, I'm making these changes, you're seeing it, you're witnessing it.
Yep.
I noticed that just by getting ready for chapter 10, the notes you take, the underlining moves into action.
Mhm.
And if we weren't discussing this, and if we didn't know that we were going to be called upon to report our story, I wouldn't ingrain this as well.
Yeah.
So much more ingrained
Yeah.
now when I know I need to report back.
It's accountability. It really is. And I want to bring, as we think about chapter 11, I want to bring back in a concept that we've talked about on the bridge before, community building. And,
Yes.
and it really is the essence of communication. As I see what happened with the hostage situation and the fact that it was about communication and connection with others that brought people to the table. It wasn't about rules and regulations, and what you can do. It's who you are. And that's the essence of being happy and having good mental health, no matter what your age, but it's that community building, and that's
Exactly.
what we do on Meeting at the Bridge. We're here to talk about issues, but around people and how you've used the tools and how you're moving forward. And that's really the essence of communication, is relationships.
Yep, it sure is.
Exactly.
Yep.
And honestly, Sue, you reminded me of something really powerful. You don't have to love the other person to communicate with them. Your story or your incorporation about, the hostage situation, you don't need to love the other person. You don't need to,
Agree with them.
like them.
Mhm.
All you need to do is to communicate with
Right.
them,
Right.
to achieve a goal. So
Yeah.
oftentimes, we communicate with the purpose to kind of reply to the other person.
Mhm.
So I'm sitting here, on the edge, just trying to see when you will kind of take a stop so as I can jump in. Sometimes I cannot even wait for you. I will interrupt. That's not communication. This is kind of, what one ping pong, if you would like. Someone is playing it with words. But if you just, communicate with the objective to resolve an issue.
Mhm.
So if I just kind of have the awareness to say, well, am I communicating here to resolve the issue or to reply to the person?
Yeah.
Once you have that, difference in your mind, or you can distinguish between the two, then effective communication can take place and people will start, moving slowly but surely towards the goal.
Right. And it's what it's juicy and
Yes.
messy and wet. But if I can lay my agenda down, which you've said so much, Mishkat, in your stories, laying down the formal agenda and just listening and letting those communication juices flow, then magic happens. And sometimes we have a goal, but that's not the goal. The goal is connection. And it's very, very powerful, and it's visceral, and it's who we are as humans. Absolutely.
Well, I think what's going on in our world right now is that we're majoring on the differences instead of majoring on the commonalities that we have as human beings. And if we could exactly, like you said, see it from their perspective as a mom, as a dad, the roles that they play, that's pretty universal, guys. The same things that they feel about wanting to be a good parent or wanting to be, or being a good community member or whatever, it's pretty universal. And I think that that's what we need to be majoring on exactly, Mishkat, is being able to find that commonality where we can springboard off of that to do the communication that is going to bring around change, good change.
Anyone else have something dangling before we're going to do our final wrap up, and then I'm not going to give us our assignment till I give it to you, but Sandy's got an example. She kind of did her homework before I gave it. But let's start with she's a fast learner. So who wants to start with one takeaway from our conversation today? Cynthia.
Your life is your own responsibility.
Yes.
Take responsibility, create it, and then add the word be consistent and do the reps. But you don't have anyone to look at, but what are you doing?
Mm-hmm. That's good. Thank you. All right.
Yeah, it was
For me, it
was interesting with her story about her.
Okay, I didn't hear either one of you, so
go ahead, Sandy.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I was going to build on what Cynthia said. My takeaway is focus on you, not on the other person.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting story that she was telling about how she blew up at her husband after she had gone to this friend's house and seen a redo of the house and the refurbishing, and how she was just blew up at him, and he's sitting there thinking, well, what do I do with this? And then her realizing that she was really frustrated with herself, and exactly what you're saying, ladies, is that you can't put your joy and happiness on somebody else's shoulders, because you come up empty, because nobody else can lift that kind of lift. You know what I'm saying? Because we're all trying to figure it out for ourselves anyway. So I think that's true. Hang in there
Absolutely.
and
And what,
choose
yeah,
good things for yourself.
well, and to add to what all three of you are saying is focusing on me is not selfish.
Yeah,
It's really your job.
right.
You know what I mean? You've been given this life. It's nobody else's, it's yours. And it's your job to find out. And that doesn't mean you need to be arrogant about it. It's not about that. It's just about becoming who you are, becoming real, as the Velveteen Rabbit used to always, my favorite children's story. Just be real and become yourself. I think there was an old 60s song that talked about that too. So that's
Yeah. Well, if you don't do good self-care for yourself, then you don't have something to give to other people around you, right? It's like putting the oxygen mask on your face first when you're in a plane that's got issues, so that you can turn around and help other people around you. And so you've got to be
And Sandy, it's exactly what you said earlier in your story. Every day, get up and say, I'm going to be better today than I was yesterday. We never stop. It isn't like you can sit back on your laurels and say, oh, I'm done. I'm now, every day get up and say, how can I be responsible to be better today?
Yes. And it keeps you youthful and your brain
Yes.
functioning. You're building more dendrites every day. So Sandy, the assignment I have for you gals, I will post on post it, make a post, and that way people that are watching us can do it too. But Sandy, the assignment is to write a sentence about you. Who are you? What represents you? And you kind of did this, Sandy, and I love your sentence. So why don't you share it with us, and then I'll not exaggerate, but I'll whatever. I'll tell everybody what the assignment is on a post.
So this is just an example. This is what I came up with for myself. I'm a truth seeker, an encourager, and a light bearer.
Nice.
Beautiful, Sandy.
You might have to make a drawing about that.
I really, it's important to me to be a positive influence.
Yeah, good job. Great job.
Good. Okay, well, ladies, we will see you again, probably not next week, but the week after. And thank you. What a wonderful time together.
Our thoughts and prayers are with you, Sue. You just go into this operation on Thursday knowing everything you can to get yourself ready, and you're going to come out of it a healed, healthy, active woman.
Yes, I'm looking forward to my new me.
Absolutely.
That's right.
All right, I'm going to push stop, and if you want to hang on just for a second, please do.
Oh, and ladies, I love spending time with you. You are all so amazing. I'm so glad you're part of